Welcome to the June Commission on Aging meeting. We are back in person for the first time since February or March of 2020. Thanks to all for joining us. Isn't that amazing? So great to see everybody. Thank goodness that we have a situation where if anybody's watching on TV, Town Hall has opened for purposes of being unmasked as long as you're vaccinated. So that's why when you look around, you see one mask, which is fine. But everybody else who's been vaccinated or wishes to cannot have a mask. So that's why we are unmasked, if people are wondering. And so we have two sets of minutes to approve because we have a situation where we did not have a quorum in May. So I'll open with the minutes from April. Does anybody have any questions, changes, or modifications to the April minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the April minutes? Thank you, Peter. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. Now we move on to the May minutes. Do we have any questions or changes to the May minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the May minutes? Thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye, that was easy. And so Beth has got to take off at 9:30 because she needs to do some stuff at the Mather Center. So I'm going to turn it over to Beth, and if she escapes at 9:30, you'll know why. So Beth, Mather Center report.
Okay, we had our incremental opening this month. It is going well that all the programs that we do have in-house are full. And if people are not able to come, they're being very cooperative with calling in and saying they can't come so we can fill in from the waiting list. There's 4 exercise classes going on, there's 3 educational programs, the computer room's open, the wood shop's open, but again, all with a time limit on them, number of attendance limit on them, and spacing limit. In July, we're going to be moving to 3-foot distancing for all the lecture programs. We're going to stay at 6 foot for all the exercise programs. We are still asking for teachers to come back. Most of our exercise teachers that did come back came back and they wanted to remain masked. We are masked in center. We are not asking. Everyone is signing a waiver. And we're continuing to be masked for a period of time, a little bit time longer, as only the breakthrough cases so far that are coming through with people that are doubly vaccinated, the highest population that's facing that are 65 and older. So since that's our group, we're trying to be a little bit more cautious a little longer. The drive-through lunch program is still going to be outside. I'm waiting for the state to say what they're doing with congregate meals. When they provide some direction about congregate meals, we'll look about taking the meals back inside again. We are doing Darien residents only for meals because on a regular day, we're up to about 50 people a day. On a themed day, we can go to 75 to 100 people. And we are doing themed drive-through lunches, and we are doing Life on the Patio. We're having one on Friday, next Friday, the 25th. It's for anybody who hasn't signed up for it yet. It's going to be Bob Giannotti. He's awesome. And that'll probably be our last outside summer foray because it's going to get too hot on the pavement to have those. And we're booking September, October, November, December, hoping to be inside, but we also could take them outside if we had to. In July also, more programming's coming back into the building. We do have, I don't know if the camera gets to see this, but we do have the newsletter that we're doing now is a little complex, but everything that's in yellow is in center. Everything that's not highlighted is still on Zoom. So we are still working Zoom classes. Is one of the reasons why I have to leave, because I have occupational therapy students that I have to deal with soon. So we're doing both still. There are a group of people, and it's pretty large, that still wants us to continue to Zoom because they're still afraid of coming out. They tend to be the much older people, the people that are 89 and up, and they love the Zooming now. So it's kind of amazing, but somebody did come in for Jerry's Rosie program, who was 98 years old and was disappointed that it was on Zoom, but we put her on Zoom so that she could be part of the program. So we are doing a fair amount of programming still on Zoom, and we'll probably, as we move forward, continue to that, but it'll get less and less. And I know we have painting teachers coming back soon, stained glass is back. So just call the center if anybody's confused. The next newsletter will be on we'll be on June 21st for July. We're doing the sign-ups, Darien residents signing up Wednesday the 23rd. Non-resident members are signing up on the 30th, so that we're given at least a few days that Darien, and we are Darien heavy with our programming, so that's a good thing. I'm probably will talk about this later, the bill, not as part of the Mather report. So I have a bill that came up that Peter was encouraging me to talk about because it is a big coup for senior centers around the state. But that's pretty much the Mather Center part of it.
Great.
Question, Beth.
Yes.
Have you stopped your Friday at 5 phone calls?
Well, the intriguing thing about that is this Friday, we came in and there were no computers and no telephone the entire day because they were reworking the system. So I went, oops, because usually I do it on Thursday to be delivered on Friday, and I was gonna do it Friday. I'm gonna do less robocalls, but I'm gonna still continue to do them just because it's the informational piece of that. So many people who've come back into the center have thanked me for calling them on Fridays. Like, they are the only ones that I called, but it's 2,000 people. So that we're gonna continue to do it, but it'll probably be briefer and just specifically programmatic.
I encourage you to do that
Yeah.
because again, I think it fuels the activities.
Yeah, it's helped a lot of people. Again, everybody has a phone. So, but not everybody still has a computer, so it's really the folks that are not computer savvy. So we are looking to get some computer instructors, so if anybody in the community wants to avail themselves to helping us out, because we really want to have people ready if this, God forbid, should ever happen again, that people are very comfortable with Zoom. We see that how important it was. Most of the people that are older that got on, it's their grandchildren that got them on. And, so it was awesome because we could only do so much through the phone, and then so in person is better. But yes, I will do it.
Awesome.
You'll hear me this Friday.
Any other questions for Beth?
Beth, that one girl that you had that helped with the Zoom when I came in
Yes.
the center, she was very good too.
Yes, she doesn't have as much free time as she did before, so we really want to, and actually we talked even with the powers that be here about also upgrading the computer room so that we have iPads and things as well, and that we're also training people on iPhones if they have iPhones or Androids. So the computer room's gonna get a little bit of a boost too. So, and she picked up another job, so, but she's around for us here and there.
Well, I think that the whole thing with the seniors is just unbelievable because they really are really longing to see all of us again. And I had one of the seniors call me and she said, and she's like 97 or 98.
She'll be 98 soon, yeah.
And she said, I know I have a very bad driveway, but you know what? If you meet me at the Palmer's parking lot, I'll pick you up and take you to my house. I mean, I'm afraid to go up the driveway, but she said, no worries, I'll come and get you in the parking lot. And I said, oh, but that's how much
Yes.
they're longing to see us again.
Last week she came in for Art Gottlieb in person. It was Art Gottlieb is one of our instructors who does history programs, and he said she made his life because I put her in the front row and put a pillow behind her, and she looked up at him and she said, this is the best thing I've done in a year and a half. Art's very sweet. He got very teary-eyed. He said, my life is made, so. And that's the other thing, to just let people know, if somebody's having trouble following this, like what I did with this particular person, is I actually sent them a snail mail letter of everything that they signed up for, and in big print, so that they could put it on their, or they just could put it on their refrigerator. So if somebody needs that kind of support, we're more than happy to do that, because this is hard to follow. It's a lot of, it's a lot of stuff. Thanks to Stacy doing an awesome job with coordinating both things. So we'll help you. Just call us.
Can
Can I just make a suggestion? The high school, I'm sure you can get volunteers to come and help with computers.
Yeah, up to this point, we couldn't, and also they weren't vaccinated. So we have to wait until make sure that we are allowed to ask, all of our instructors, by the way, are vaccinated. Our entire staff is, but we were not even allowed to ask our staff. Our staff has a choice, but anybody that we hire in, we can ask. So everybody who helps, even our vendors that come in to fix the grease trap and stuff like, they all have to be vaccinated, and we're allowed to make that request. So we just have to wait till we get a contingent of them. Yeah.
Awesome. Other questions for Beth? Hearing none, thank you, Beth. Ally could not be with us today. I believe she's got some graduations in her household. So as a result, Cynthia's here to talk about. Cynthia Hall, you're on for the Human Services Report.
Good morning, everyone. So we will be participating with the farmers market once again this year. So low-income seniors can get vouchers and use it at our local farmers market. We're still awaiting the income guidelines for the 2021 program year. But for last year, the income limits were $1,968 for a single person. It's a nice treat for our seniors, so they really look forward to it. We began applications for the Renters Rebate Program on May 17th. So individuals who are 65 years or older or receiving Social Security disability can apply for the program. Single people, the income limits are $37,600, and for couples, it's $45,800. I will be coordinating the program, so anyone who's interested in applying can contact me directly. Energy assistance ended on June 15th, so yesterday. We will be setting up a meeting with the Royal Imagineer staff to set up office hours at the Royal. We're hoping to be there either once or twice a month. And lastly, Human Services continues to maintain the emergency call list. So if there's anyone that you know that could benefit from being on our list, please let us know. We'll be happy to reach out to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Cynthia? One thing to note is that Ally sent me the May report, so we will incorporate that for the June report of Human Services. I've already sent that on to our secretary, and maybe I can get Ally to also give us that report as well. Exactly. And we'll go ahead and use that as well in our June minutes. So we'll have 2 Human Services reports, one for May and one for June, in the June minutes. Fair enough? Great. I know we've got a tight deadline on Beth, so Beth, I'm switching back to you as part of legislative stuff as old business. So you're on to tell us about what happened.
Okay, there was a bill that was raised, number 817 SB, concerning senior centers. And to really make a short work of it, it's all about that around our state, senior centers are not unified in the way that they're delivering service. So for the last 3 or 4 years, the agency CASP, Connecticut Association of Senior Center Personnel, has been working together and as proposing legislation that all of the senior centers have goals and basically service provision that's more unified. Our part of the state, Fairfield County, wasn't supportive of this bill a couple of times based on the fact that we are already here, we've already arrived at this, and because our Southwest Area Agency on Aging is so specifically wonderful that we're always coordinated and collaborating with each other constantly. But during COVID, we met regularly, usually at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, with the 169 towns. So we started to see that one of the reasons why they wanted to do this. So now what will happen is a working task force group starting October 2021 that'll be made up of senior center directors in the various regions, people from the Department of Children and Services, because the Department of Disability, and we're going to talk about not making mandates, because mandates have to be funded, but making an archetype that can be followed for all of the senior centers in the area in terms of delivery of service. One of the big things is municipal agent, and different towns implement this in a different way, like Ally's the municipal agent. Normally it's a senior center person that's the municipal agent, because according to the Older Americans Act from 1965, the senior center is supposed to be the focal point. So now they've expanded this because they've talked to a lot of us, and all that will happen then is that Ally would still be for our purposes, would still be the municipal agent for all of the eligibility programs and for other interventions. But the senior center, so I might become her municipal agent assistant, would be for other services, programs, quality of life issues. And there's a whole list of things that every senior center is supposed to now include. And it's a long list, so I'm not gonna read the whole thing to you. So I think in the long run, it's gonna be great. Many of the senior centers are looking at accreditation. There's only in Connecticut, I think there's 3 or 4 of us that are accredited with the National Council on Aging. It's an arduous process. So one of the things the task force is going to do is to look at seeing if they can redefine that a little bit more and make it a little easier for people to go through the process. So it takes like 2 to 5 years. We already have all the qualifications for it, but the process that you have to go through is also financial. It's from $2,000 to $3,000. So some senior centers won't be able to do that. So that's another thing the task force is going to be looking at. So you know, it's a win-win for senior centers to be looked at really as a focal point. The idea was in 1965, when the Older Americans Act first came about, that was supposed to happen, and some states kind of did a better job with it, like Massachusetts, than other states. So it's going to be great for the whole state as a whole. And I'll tell you, we would have never known what was going on in the regions that are more rural, and they really need the support. So if we can give our brain power, especially Fairfield County, because we are so collaborative and we are so well run, we've got a lot to offer them. We used to break out, because 169 of us, we used to break out into small rooms, and we met people from all over Connecticut, and it was fascinating to hear the challenges and struggles, but such passion. They also want people to have a certain educational background, and some of the senior centers don't have that, and you need that educational background now in order to be able to implement the programs and services. So it's very exciting. And again, we wouldn't have been on the, he's my wonderful little chef. He's my Jiminy Cricket. He emailed me and he said, you need to tell people about this. But I do have, I'll send it to you copies, Sharon, so you can, this actual copy of it is the most comprehensive, that's easy to read. The
Okay.
one I have is 15 pages long, but this one's great. And then you can all look at it. It's very, very exciting. And it's good for each municipality too, because when it comes budget time, it also edifies and validates what's being done. And that it's, we're supposed to be fun, but we're supposed to be doing all these other things as well, so.
So
Thank you, Peter.
for anybody watching on TV 79, anything we reference as a document ultimately gets uploaded to the town's website.
Right.
So as a result, you'll also be able to read what Beth just referenced, along with our other documents. So encourage you to go on to the Town Hall's website, Commission on Aging, and read the minutes, because that includes all these documents we're referencing. Great. Other questions for Beth relating to the law?
I have a comment on what Beth was saying about the diversity of the senior centers. It's so true. I was on some programs with gerontology programs in various upstate locations and participated in a 9-week program. When it was over, they said to me, what would you like to see? I said, I want to come up and visit your chicken coops. Because it was a farming community and we're constantly talking about chicken coops.
Wow.
And I said, we don't have chicken coops here.
Amazing.
But the diversity is amazing. And they have needs and they have strengths too that we don't have.
Absolutely, and that's the thing that we learned, some things that people might think is, like unsophisticated. It's not. There's a cultural difference throughout the state, and they're all meeting the needs of what the folks, if you were a farmer, you may not be wanting to do stained glass, there's something else you might want to do. So it's that kind of thing. But it is wonderful to see how many minds, even those of us who are outside of each other's billywhack, still can help each other. So it's exciting.
Good stuff. Any other questions for Beth? Hearing none. Thank you, Beth. I think we beat your deadline.
We did.
So good stuff. Okay. And other old business, I'll turn it over to Peter. Tell us what else is going on with the finalization of the legislative session.
Well, I'll tell you right where we are today. The big news yesterday was they knocked 2 pages off the marijuana bill. The marijuana bill was 297 pages long, believe it or not, and is now down to 295.
Wow.
The governor today said that he is going to veto it in its current form, And so it'll go back probably to the state, and they will see if they can iron something out. And it's very complex, but it has to deal with who can get involved in the marijuana business.
Right.
So imagine with all the things going on in this state, in COVID, that we spent, maybe I'm revealing a personal observation here, which for Channel 78, but I will, but to spend work on 297 pages of a marijuana bill.
Well, I'll defend it, okay? I will say that historically, people of color have been targeted, okay, in terms of marijuana. If a privileged kid gets polled for marijuana, his parents can typically plead it out. If a person of color is polled, okay, they may be assigned a public defender and end up in prison. So part of what they're trying to do is address past inequities relating to marijuana by giving people of color and business persons of color the opportunity to be in on the ground floor. Because if you drive north of Hartford, every single billboard heading towards the Connecticut border is marijuana in Massachusetts. Of course, it's not called marijuana, it's cannabis, which is the new term. It's cannabis. So all these shops in just north of the Connecticut border are owned by various people. New York, with its marijuana bill, did exactly this, which is we want to be able to allow people of color to have a shot at the ground floor. So I think this is why that bill is so long, that they've got to figure out how do they implement that. So say what you want about cannabis and whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. If you're going to do it, it's not a bad idea to say, okay, historically, we've got a big problem with how this has been enforced and people who've been impacted, so we at least want to try to help those who have been, again, progressive, but the bottom line is from my perspective, it's like, whatever they try to do and whatever our governor wishes to do with a veto, they are trying to think through this in a positive way.
Well, having said that, the bill, it's a 2-year package. It totals out at 837 pages within that budget, believe it or not, and it's $46 billion. So that's $46 billion in the state. I think there was some really good things that did come out of it, particularly for seniors. Probably the one that we are really most excited about is in nursing homes and care facilities. Any resident will be able to have the very same communications devices that they have in their home. So they'll be able to have fixed cameras, they'll be able to bring their phones, their cell phones. We've worked 3 years for this. We're now the 8th state in the country that allows this, and I think it's a big step. Nursing homes themselves will have to provide the internet connections and the services. Again, the residents will have to provide the equipment, but still in all, I mean, the barriers are gone, and it was a very, very...
That's a huge win for you, Peter. You've been talking about this on our Commission on Aging meetings for quite some time, so congratulations to you and AARP for getting that done.
Other things, again, there are bills strengthening long-term care facility operations, providing now oversight from folks who have folks in those facilities. Again, you can just go through prescription drugs. There's a bill that will limit now insurance companies to make changes in their prescription drug formulations during a planned year. So up until this year, they could make changes whenever they wanted. No more. Now it's going to be within a planned year. Equitable access to broadband, another long, complicated bill. But for those of us of a certain age, I mean, POTS was plain old telephone service was mandated so that everyone in this country could have universal telephone service. There's now a realization that everyone should have universal internet services. So this bill is going to lay the foundation for moving forward on that. A set of bills again dealing with no excuse absentee balloting. And remote balloting. It's probably going to end up on the again as a constitutional amendment. We're going to probably have to vote on it again as citizens. But again, the steps have been moving forward on that. So again, I'd encourage everyone just to read the summaries that I guess it's the Connecticut Mirror, the online data service is excellent for encapsulating this information. I encourage you to do that. Coming up, I met one of our town's voting registrars in the parking lot this morning, and he said that if the Census Department releases its data, the census, the district lines in our town may be redistricted, redrawn. That could happen again this fall, or it might happen next spring, depending on when the Census Bureau releases it. But again, it's going to be another whole set of things where we're going to maybe be assigned different districts, and again, we're going to have to look at all of that. So that's ahead. That's an outgrowth really of the census. A couple of other things in AARP. I got an email walking into the parking lot from AARP. The Elder Law, Thinking Outside the Box. AARP webinar is this evening, Tuesday, June the 16th. It's from 7 to 8. Let me just read this paragraph. Most people have expectations about attorneys who create documents and do not see or hear from them again. You can learn how a national group of attorneys who are trying to change the practice of law to a more holistic approach, utilizing plans and not documents, changing the methods and turning the legal world on its head while utilizing care as the driving factor in determining a plan. Join us for a conversation to learn about how this nationwide movement, pairing elder law attorneys with advocates and care coordinators to support you in preparing for your care and now into the future. The event is live and it's not recorded, so we hope you will attend. And again, you can do it through AARP event. The type of program that AARP continues to provide. One final thing, I was at the cemetery on Saturday for the second of the 3 celebrations of our town's 200th anniversary. I don't know if any of you made it. It was really interesting. My parents were immigrants. You know, I hear what people talking about the Daughters of the American Revolution, showing Thaddeus Bell's 12th generation in America, taking us through the generations. And I thought, boy, that's interesting. Again, so it was the second one. The first one was the Weed Beach Bash. And come October, we'll finally close out the 200th anniversary a year late. But we were at it.
And they're working really hard about it. I've heard through the grapevine how hard they're working on the October event, including having people trying out for various positions for the raid on the Meeting House, July 22, 1781. So you can contact the Historical Society if you want to be one of those guys raiding the church or one of the people inside the church. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing that, but I have heard that they are having tryouts for that. So it's very interesting. It should be very professionally done. Good stuff. On the legislative side, the aid and dying bill, which we discussed, we've never taken a vote on, so we have various views, did not make it in this session, so it will be, again, brought up again next session. That one died in the Judiciary Committee. And so, long story short is, we do very much appreciate Peter and all of his information on both the legislative stuff and AARP. Thank you for that. Any questions for Peter?
I just want to add for Peter, in the newsletter now, we do every single month highlight the programs for AARP that are on Zoom because they're so fabulous. So just so you guys know that we're doing that too, because that program you just mentioned is on here.
And
So
they're going to be going through the same kind of complex withdrawal from COVID.
Yeah.
Again, coming back from, the AARP chapters were essentially shut down all across America. Whether they're going to come back or not, we don't know what's going to happen in the States. So again, but as you said, it's going to definitely be a balance between a Zoom
Right.
and in person.
Right.
But the real concern is the isolation factor. That's the real concern, because we know that we want to bring out of their homes as many people as we can. And a lot of this COVID has made maybe people more comfortable being in their home when they shouldn't be in their home, and given some psychological, physical factors. So we're out of the woods, but I think we really have a long way to go.
Got a lot of work to do.
Thank you, appreciate it. Other old business, I'll turn it over to Gina. Gina, what you got? Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. At Home in Darien continues to assist senior citizens in Darien to remain living independently in their homes as they age. And our services are continuing, and we're offering those free services, including transportation, volunteer services, and what's new or renewed just because of getting out of the woods of COVID is home safety evaluations. So if anybody is interested in those, we are again going into people's homes. A licensed professional is doing that to give someone suggestions about how to make their homes safer for them. So I urge you to call us and take advantage of those as well.
And really helpful too. I can imagine you guys would identify things that people wouldn't necessarily think of, you know, whether it's on the floor or showers or whatever it is.
Yeah,
That
and they're
really,
suggesting, you know, if a grab rail is needed somewhere, or so, you know, things that just are going to assist people to live safely.
and you also have, if my recollection serves, the right people to refer for that kind of work. So the senior isn't going, oh, thank you for that information. Now what do I do? You can say, well, you can call X, Y, or Z.
Absolutely. We call them our trusted service providers, and they're people that we have vetted and checked references and background and gotten all sorts of information on them so that we have a relationship that you have peace of mind to have somebody come to service at your home.
Fantastic. And what's the age limit for someone who wants to have their home evaluated?
60, but I'm flexible.
Thank you. As a 57-year-old, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I can talk from experience, because we had that evaluation done,
Mhm.
and they went through our house, and one of their recommendations was put a grab bar between the garage and the house, because we always bring our packages and goods in from the garage, particularly in the wintertime, and I'd never thought about that, and it's just one step. And they said, you know what, just put it in, you may not need it now, but 5 years from now, you'd be delighted. And I said, sure, okay. I said, how do I do it? And the folks doing the assessment said, do you matter, are you fancy about what kind of grab bar? He said, I have one in my truck. Oh, I can put it in for you right now. Well, who cares about what your grab bar, at least I don't.
Right.
It's between your garage and your inside your house, right? So he came, put it in, and I can. And the first thing they do, of course, is they also do a bit of a quick psychological and physical. Again, it's good, just kind of get a benchmark.
Mhm.
But I'd encourage everyone to do it. It's free, and it really is worth.
How much did the grab bar cost you?
Grab one didn't cost me anything. He said he had it in his truck.
He did it for free?
Yeah.
Wow, that's remarkable.
And have you used it?
Sometimes.
Great question.
Ask me in 5 years.
That's really great. What a great service, especially for free. That's remarkable.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
It's really good stuff. Great. Awesome. Any questions for Gina? Hearing none. Any other old business? Any new business? The only new business I can tell you about is the fact we're here, obviously. We will be here again in July, room 119, Town Hall. Everybody is welcome to show up. You're welcome to be here, or you can watch us on TV 79 or on the internet. And then we skip August and back in September. Peter?
How about the makeup of the board?
Oh, great question. What's happened is that we have a new member, okay, coming in. Okay, we got 2 other new members coming in, potentially. So would you like to introduce? I try to remember the Republican name, I apologize.
Joan Davy.
Joan, of course. Joan's here, okay? And so Joan's here, and we're also having 2 Democrats potentially coming in, okay? And so we're hopeful that we are completely filled up, okay? Sorry about that, Joan. On TV 79, my memory is starting to shoot. I need the evaluation! Both mentally and physically, as well as my home. So we're welcoming Joan. We have 2 other Democrats who may be joining us as early as July, so we're moving forward on that. So, and thankfully we had our quorum today, so it'll be nice to have even more folks to join us. Awesome. Other new business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to close the meeting? Thank you, Peter. All in favor? Thanks, everybody. Great to see you. We'll see you in July.
Okay.